say it actually performed well? Did it fail in some of the issues that it was supposed to be looking into?
Well, for me, the saddest moment for this parliament is when we had rumors of MPs being given money to vote in a certain way for certain motions in parliament. That for me was a low moment. I think my assessment in terms of the performance of that parliament will probably be 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. That is the score I would fairly given.
And that is something, because I know of someone who also gave it a 4 out of 10. Alice, let me come to you. 4 out of 10, you feel like they performed that terribly. That is a D.
For me, I'd give them an E. 3 out of 10. Yes. And even then, I have extended a lot of grace, because this is a parliament that will go down in infamy as having exacerbated and exaggerated the cost of living. It is a parliament that is famed for introducing the 16% VAT on fuel and fuel products. And since then, the cost of living has skyrocketed and has not had any, any cushioning. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, that is you give it an E, and the cost of living is one of the things that people have been blaming this parliament for, saying that we sent you to parliament to cushion us and just protect us, pass laws that were favorable to the people. But when you went there, by the time you're getting out, most of us are in very dire need of being, held hands, something like that. Ben, how is your assessment of this parliament?
I'm trying to understand whether a 1 out of 10 is an F or what it is, because believe you me, I have very many of my friends who have been in parliament for the last 5 years and others for the last 10 years and some beyond. And I have been candid and honest with them all through. Back in 2014, I wrote an article for which I received a lot of criticism, where I said the parliament that we had then was the greatest threat to national security. And
that is in 2014?
Yes. And my prophecy has come to pass. Since independence, we have never had anything near the tragedy that parliament has been for the last 10 years, both for those who have served for 2 terms and those who have served for 1 term. And I can narrow down very quickly to specifics. Sometimes I listen to somebody like Murram, and I have senators here aspiring to be. I was there in 2013. I was running in Makueni. And sometimes I listen to Duale speaking, and I wonder whether people even have an iota of conscience, and when they go to bed, whether they have an opportunity even to make up with their maker so that they can find sleep. Because the tragedy of what we are facing today as a country, and the dishonesty with which people are trying to deal with this, particularly these 2 gentlemen, cannot run away from them. Duale was majority leader in the National Assembly for the longest time, and Murkomen in the Senate. It is this time when all the tragedies that now this country is struggling with tonight found foundation, found comfort, and found refuge in parliament. You see, the world over, parliament is expected to be the ultimate guardian of the interests of the people.
So we feel like
these are the 2 gentlemen.
It hasn't performed.
These are the 2 gentlemen who spearheaded the decimation of parliament and the desecration of parliament by reducing it to become a small branch of the executive, where parliament at some point was essentially now the mouthpiece of the executive and the excesses of the executive. Remember even the security laws amendment tragedy and many other things that have happened. Look at the national, I've listened to the deputy president a few moments ago talking about a national debt. It's a shame. Yet these are people who sat there throughout for 10 years.
All right.
These are things, if indeed they were necessary, or he found them necessary or important, these are things he could have raised an alarm way back in 2014.
All right.
I am on record, and sometimes, you know, it's very refreshing when things that people thought were out of context or out of the norm come to pass. I am on record that I started calling, for instance, for the removal of Henry Rotich as CS Treasury back in 2014. He sat there for a whole 7 years.
Okay.
Today we are living the tragedy. Essentially what I'm telling you, Brian, is that we have had a parliament that has really failed the people of Kenya.
Okay.
The average Kenyan today is really struggling even to pull through a single day.
All right.
But thank God we have less than 60 days to go. Maybe there will be some reprieve.
That depends on whether we are going to vote them back, because we have a culture of doing that. Let me come to you, Crispus. A mouthpiece of the executive, and let's just say the executive, but this is a house that's supposed to be oversighting, keeping the judiciary and the executive in check. It failed in that. Do you agree?
I totally agree. Remember, these institutions are supposed to be independent. Lucky for the parliaments, they all have their own independent budgets. So they don't have to rely on what the executive tells them. But because of how low we have taken integrity, that beyond the small budget or the budget they have, they still want to get more incentives from the executive.
So that is why you want to say that would explain why they will probably follow anything that the executive is going to say.
And I can remember one time Moses Kuria explained it purely that it is what we call budgeted corruption, meaning it starts at Parliament when those committees are coming together, when they are preparing the budget process, where they plan for how what we call the grand haste, the same haste that we are being now accused of, that we've taken so much debt, that has made us poor. But it was through these very institutions that we went and borrowed this money. It never did what is required of it, and now we have to pay for it. So for me, I would say, Kenyans, you have 60 days to make a total paradigm shift. Number one, in how you elect people. Forget about parties, forget about tribes. Look at the character of people. Let us restore one thing that is very important, integrity in our leadership.
Alice, let me come to you. Does parties then play a role in how these parliamentarians get to act? Because I remember there's a time, and I want to quote Junet Mohammed, when there was cracking a whip, or rather there's punishing those who are not loyal to the Jubilee Party, and Eden Duale got now from being a majority whip, leader of majority rather, in Parliament. That was taken away from him, and Junet said, "You see, us following Baba like cows, we are afraid of these kind of issues." So does that, does that then take away you being in a political party? How you're going to act yourself and conduct yourself in the House depends on, that political party. If you go against that, then it can actually, going to be very bad for you.
Well, I believe that once one is elected, their primary, allegiance should be to the electorate, because that is where they derive all their powers. And remember that I always quote Article 1 of the Constitution. All the sovereign power rests with the people, and the Constitution is exercised in consonance with that sovereign power that is begotten from the people. And so I believe that an elected leader is directly answerable and is a direct representative of the people. And therefore, they are beholden to the people, not necessarily the political party. A political party is just an avenue, a vehicle, to help them or to catalyze their journey towards, parliamentary elections. But be that as it may, I also believe that really political parties play a huge role, especially in, sieving and presenting and nurturing, political ambitions of any political actor. Therefore, still the buck rests with the political parties. And I remember the last time we were here on panel, we were discussing about leadership and integrity.
Exactly.
And I told you that the buck stops with political parties. They should be the primary receivers of the people that they are presenting to the electorate at ballot, to ensure that these are people without an iota of, of blame, Yeah. And so I still believe that political parties, play some kind of role in ensuring that there is leadership and integrity in parliament.
All right. But now, when we look at this particular parliament, because some of the things, or rather some of the bills they were voting for, it depended on which part of the political divide you belong to, what your party says about this particular bill, whether it is going to hurt Kenyans or not, whether it is good for the people or not. Now goes, they're like, okay, this is what the party says. I stand with the party position on this particular issue. What does that then speak of the members of parliament you elect? Because now they are on the campaign trail and they are very loud when it comes to championing for, or wanting to defend their seats and saying, we were in parliament, this is what we did, blah, 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 and all that. But when you come and sit down and look at what they've done, we'll give them a 4, you'll give them a 3, Ben there is going to give them a 1. So what exactly is this that they are defending?
Well, I believe that right now the narrative has changed, especially in the ground. I'm just from ground today, and I've interacted with the residents of Kikuyu, Kabete, and Kino. And one thing is general. There's a general feeling that now people are not going to look at you from an angle of which political party has sponsored you. They are more interested in listening to what is in store, what do you have for them. Is your vision rhyming with the challenges that are bedeviling them? And that is why right now people are saying that they do not want that system of 6-piece voting. Yeah, so then there's going to be a lot of peril, especially to those people or those political parties that may want to field candidates because they believe that they are going to benefit from the wave. There's no longer a wave. There's no more euphoria. The electorate is woke. And there is really that one touching thing that they want, somebody who can identify with their economic challenges.
I really do hope that they are woke for
Let's
their
hope
own
so.
good. That's the thing. For their
Yes.
own good, I really do hope that they are woke, because there's something in this country when it comes to recalling leaders who have misbehaved and just have questionable character when they are already in parliament. You say, let's wait for 5 years and elect another one. So I think they are woke this particular moment so that they get somebody who is, good and that can be able to represent them. Ben, let me come to you and talk about corruption in this parliament, because it's a big thing in this country when it comes to issues of corruption, because now we are looking at leaders with questionable characters. The question about integrity is, taking center stage in this political divide. We have close to so many disputes at the IBC, some people trying to block these politicians from actually vying. How do we rate this house? Not even rating, but how has it handled issues when it comes to corruption? Have they been bought?
Not even being bought. I think the entry point is the caliber of characters that present themselves for election. And secondly, the caliber of characters who ultimately get elected. And you have mentioned something very interesting about that background of how our parliament has been structured, and particularly on corruption. If you remember, in 2013, when I think it was the 11th parliament, when it came into office, the first motion that was moved was by Mithika Linturi, the current Senator Meru. And that motion was to increase the salaries of members of parliament. And that is where the tragedy entered the August House. And he received overwhelming support by all those we thought were characters of integrity and anything else. And that is where impunity got entrenched in parliament, because by the time, if you look at the current constitution we have, the responsibility of setting salaries and emoluments for public servants rests with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Parliament rubbished everything Sarah Serem had proposed, because there was that necessity. And Parliament went rogue from that moment up to tonight. And they ceased to be accountable to anybody. They became a law unto themselves, and they abrogated unto themselves a responsibility of being able to do whatever it is that they wish and get away with it. Two, we keep talking about Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And this is an issue that has continued to be raised on several platforms, but receiving near zero attention. The first thing that Duale spearheaded was to kill Chapter 6 of the Constitution, in the sense that it is nearly impossible to hold elected leaders to account in this country anymore. That's a reality we have. And one of the key things the Constitution, or the drafters of the current Constitution, aspired for, was that recall clause, where it should be possible for me to recall my MCA if they do not meet the expectations of us as the electorate. It should be possible for me to recall the MP or the senator or the woman rep or even the president. That was the second assignment. They killed that completely. Today, it is completely impossible to remove a member of parliament from office. Yes, we have it on paper, but start the process today. Right now, we are sitting in Dagoretti North constituency. Start the process of removing Simbarati. It will take you the next 15 years.
But
trust you me. So what I'm saying is, these are some of the tragedies that this parliament has subjected Kenyans to. Because, you know, leadership without accountability is like letting free a wild lion in the middle of a market. And that's exactly what we are. Alice, it's not a joke, Alice. We are actually in a very bad place. And I remember, like, when this funny wave of the impeachment of governors started off. Do you know today it is easier to remove a governor from office than to remove an MCA? That's the truth. What is the threshold? So in essence, what I'm saying is, I don't know now, because we are so deep into this mess, it is almost nearly impossible to reverse it immediately. But there is only one hope that we have. There is a case ongoing about 241 individuals that the EACC seeks to block from running for office. My sincere prayer is that the bench that is sitting on Friday must declare these people ineligible and unacceptable to run for any office in this country. That, let me tell you, Brian, that will be a game changer. Look at the drama we are being treated tonight in this country by individuals like Sakaja. Bottom line is, cut the long story short, Sakaja, my friend for many years, we were with him since Vijana na Kibaki, does not have a degree. That's the bottom line. So why are we subjecting Kenyans to this shenanigans? Just a moment, Brian, because to me this is very important. That is in Uganda. Yes. No, where did you hear about a university called TIM?
We were looking
until Monday last week. Until Monday last week. You see, we have to be serious as a country. And that seriousness must begin somewhere. And the idea is, these individuals of questionable character and ways of doing things must be eliminated from our leadership. Because it is these people with these types of dubious character who have made politics extremely expensive in this country. Today, an average person, I can imagine, Alice, how much do you need today to run to become senator in Kiambu?
Over 100 million.
Where are you supposed to get 100 million shillings to run for office? No, Brian, it's a simple question. If I want, you know, Brian, I have managed a gubernatorial campaign in Nairobi, and currently I'm involved in a number of campaigns. Today, if Ben Mulwa seriously wants to run for governor here in Nairobi, I need 1 billion shillings to run for governor in Nairobi. What kind of wickedness is that? Where am I supposed to steal 1 billion shillings?
It's true.
You're talking about the Finance Act.
If we remove this crop of criminals who have come in to make politics so expensive because they do their dubious wash-wash business to come and run for office, and then we remain with individuals of character who can sit. And the reason I was giving that example of the tragedy we have had with our parliament since 2013, I want you to go back and read the Hansard of parliament even in the 1970s. Of course, it was a very difficult environment then, but listen to people like Martin Shikuku when they were speaking in parliament. These are people who are extremely passionate about serving the people. They stood up against a rogue system when there were detentions and murders and all these things. Now we have individuals who have discarded every aspect of integrity at a time when we have such a beautiful democratic space where you can comfortably tell off the president and nothing happens to you.
All right.
We must reclaim
that. I want to take a
Yes.
short break. But before I do take that break, let me come to you, Chris, because he's mentioning something important. So these are people who have come into this space and made it worse, when, especially for you that are coming in right now.
Yes.
When it comes to matters campaigning, because you saw the IBC say, now we need to monitor how you're going to be spending your campaign money. So how is it hard for you when you're coming into this? How much do you need to spend for you to actually...
Maybe very quickly also, you remember IBC came up with caps on expenditure. The same parliament kicked that out.
Yes.
So
They said, I can spend, even if I want to spend $1 billion shillings and
It is
become
my money.
MCA, I should be
You
allowed.
can't stop me from oiling my campaign.
My campaign, yeah. What I'll tell you is this. Nobody wakes up and has a budget of how to spend. You may be campaigning in Kiambu, need $1 billion. You may be campaigning in Nakuru, where you may need 100 million. You don't know. The thing is, once you start this race, you will definitely spend.
You will definitely spend.
And it varies from one candidate to the other.
So at the end of the day, when
And it depends
that's when you can be able to account and say, I spend this amount of money.
the terrain you're campaigning on. But there's something we need to address, that the appetite for this money is two ways. The politician gives, but there's somebody who eats. The voter.
The voter receives.
The voter down there, when you come empty-handed, they tell you you've come with dirty hands.
Oh, no.
You must come with clean hands so that we can listen to you.
So the clean
I
hands
think
are the cleans with money.
We need you, the media, to speak about this issue. Let us tell the voter that this politician who comes with a bag of money, he's the one who will make your household suffer for the next 5 or 10 years. Remember, Kibaki gave us a government that had 1/3 of the population was poor. Today, whoever will inherit this government beyond August will have 2/3 of the country is poor and 5 times the debt that Kibaki left us.
Absolutely.
So what kind of country is that? So first of all, we need to do away with everybody who was elected in 2013. Because they are the same people who inherited a good government from Kibaki and have turned it to the most impoverished. In numbers, it looks nice. Express highway, SGR, big things. But to the reality of the common man is suffering. And that suffering can only be cured if on the 9th of August, every Kenyan who cares about this country makes the most conscious decision they have ever done of voting the right person in office. And it doesn't matter which office, whether it's MCA, women rep, senator, MP, governor, all of them count. Because remember, as we move forward, we are going to start spending more and more on county government. Meaning we are going to devote more money to the ugatuzi governments. Meaning more of the people you elect will influence your way of life.
All right. Now, hold that thought there. I want to take a short break here on the spotlight. We are looking at the state of affairs in the country. And from this discussion, you can clearly tell that as they go out, that is the 12th parliament, they are leaving us in a very bad state. All right. Now, we take that short break. We'll be back to just finalize on this particular issue and also look at the women in politics debate that is, taking center stage in this country right now. Okay.
And timely. Welcome to Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we'll be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707.
Yeah.
Are you looking to turn your passion to purpose? Vera Beauty and Fashion College now brings you online classes at the comfort of your home. We are a TVET-approved institution with over 20 years' experience in training competency-based courses in fashion design and creative arts, cosmetology, hairdressing, beauty therapy, interior design in soft furnishings, event decoration and flower arrangement, hospitality and catering, and training of trainers. To enroll, call us today on 0704 577 577 or visit our website at www.verabeautycollege.com. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a center of excellence.
Help me identify a beautiful womb. I never came across one till I got to Vera.
Men are very well organized. No?
Wanawake anasumbua.
Wanawake unajua wako na sijui naweza sema ni nini, lakini wako na kujipenda kiasi. Kwa hiyo unaweza kuwa unambeba anakaa ni kama anataka kuegemea pande moja, lakini mwanaume ukimbeba ametulia, maana ameamini dereva. Yeah.
Wow.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. This is what we mean, that if you buy a property that is 1 star with Optiven, one of the things that is evident, the property is cheaper, is below $500,000. And this particular property is basically bare land. We only do subdivision, put the beacons, and then produce titles. The second level, we call it 2 star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3 star is value added plots. We do the murram, we do the water, we do the mesh fence, and there's a caretaker on site. The fourth level is 4 star. 4 star is ready to build development. We do very nice Murram Roads, we plant the trees, we put the water tower, we also put a caretaker on site, and finally, the 5 star. The 5 star is premier, it's the top level, and this one, we do cable roads, we do water management through underground culverts, we do underground power, we do fountain for water, we do beautiful and nice permanent gates, we do perimeter wall, and also do install the CCTV, and the whole property is manned by uniformed security. Some of these properties, these 5-star properties, we do a clubhouse and also construct swimming pool. Thank you once more for trusting Optiven. We value you. We are at Absa Plaza, 14th floor and 15th floor. God bless you.
All right, now thank you so much for staying with us here on the Spotlight. We're having a discussion on the state of affairs here in the country. We're looking at how this parliament, and as we head to elections, how are we as they head to, start campaigning to be re-elected. Some of them are seeking higher offices that some want to be governors, others want to be senators and all that. So how exactly are they living this country, this particular point? And let's talk about, before we went for a break, we're just touching on how this state is bad, and they just mentioned that he had mentioned how we as a country right now, when it comes to state of affairs, and how this parliament has left us is not something that we'll be looking at and smiling. Actually, to you, Alice, you had something to say about that.
Yes, I just wanted to build up on the discussion by my colleague here, Ben, just to say that for those leaders who are right now, put on the spotlight regarding their degree requirements, I would just like to say from a legal perspective that the question of a degree is basically, in what we call in evidence law, a question of fact. So it is either you have a degree or not. And you cannot quote, any legal, articles, any legal clauses to exonerate yourself. It is either you have a degree or not. So for them, it's a great indictment to subject themselves to a context to whose requirements they fall short of. So that again is it impugns on their personal integrity. Okay. Yes.
All right. Now, Ben, just probably before I come to these two for their final thoughts on this particular subject, and then we get to our final subject because we're actually running out of time. Which is the way forward when it comes to now, probably in the next election, and making sure that we have an executive, or rather a legislator that is, oversighting the executive and the judiciary, keeping them in check and not sleeping with the judiciary, with the executive. I'll say that.
Yes. For me, the entry qualification is individuals who believe in, and individuals who have demonstrated commitment to the rule of law. You see, we sometimes fail to pay sufficient attention.
I think your mic has an issue. We are going to be fixing that. Let me come to you. Just your final thoughts on that particular issue.
Probably what I would say is that Kenyans have an opportunity again, and this time they really need to take advantage of this opportunity to elect leaders of character, people who are guided by a deep conviction of what they believe in, and people who hold their those things they aspire for with a certain degree that Kenyans can trust. So we need to restore our trust in the institutions that we have put in place. We need also to restore trust in the people we elect by electing people of character. Because the moment we start electing people, like, for example, Matiang'i was talking about 40% of the people we are going to elect probably will be money-driven candidates.
About that.
I think that should be a red flag to Kenyans, that whoever will come with bags of money, that one is a person you don't need to elect, because that kind of money he's bringing you is not the kind of money that will solve the problems you live with over the next 10 years or 5 years. So I think the most important thing is to restore integrity in every institution, including parliament itself. So the more people we elect based on character, the better. Whether that person is an independent candidate like myself or my sister here who is coming with a different party, let us give people a chance based on who they are. Let's dare with the person for a better tomorrow.
All right. Alice, let me come to you and say, okay, probably, I slipped my mind a little bit, but how would you then, if we, by any chance, get to elect people, half of these people that we want to send home, the 12th parliament itself, there's so many, and we get to elect half of them, will we, by any chance, looking at light at the end of the tunnel, we're just going to be back at the square one again, now starting to deal with this situation?
We will be edging towards true honest and progressive revolution, which we have always yearned for. We are now working with an almost 10-year-old constitution, and I believe the more we interact with the constitution and the more we create and enact laws therefrom, we are slowly edging towards a matured democracy. Matured in the sense that now we can see that women are being given more spaces in leadership. And, you know, that is an indicator really of growth and development, because remember, inclusivity of women is one of the indicators of sustainable development goals of 2030. And so for me, I believe we'll be inching a step closer towards, you know, progressive development of our country.
All right. And I think I'll come back to Ben later on after we fix his mic. But your point or your closing remark on that particular issue, that particular discussion, brings me to what I wanted to talk about, and that is the role of women in this 2022 election, politics. Because we're seeing now there's 3 out of the 4 candidates that have been cleared to run for presidency. 3 of them have running mates as who are women. And also we've seen the UDA party, or the Kenya Kwanza team, also now having a charter saying that when we take over, we will be giving 50% of our government to women. These are 50% of the cabinets and all that. So why are we just waking up right now to the discussion around having women on the political front?
Thank you. Today I have had 2 other, you know, shows. I've been on panel on 2 other shows, and that question has really, you know, been an undertone for discussion. And I believe that this discussion about, you know, including women in leadership mainly emanated from the famed judgment of Justice Mativo when he mandated the National Assembly to pass the 2/3 gender rule, you know, and failure to which, you know, it stood dissolved. And then after that, we had the daring letter by the Chief Justice Emeritus, David Maraga, who wrote to the President advising that he dissolves Parliament. You know, so therefore, and then after that, we've had now IEBC taking the bold steps and mandating political parties to strictly comply with the 2/3 gender rule in, you know, submitting their list of aspirants and nominated members. And so I believe that now, you know, this discussion is really emanating from 1, government institutions, and 2, provisions of the Constitution. And as I have told you, that now we are dealing with a 10-year-old Constitution. And so every time we try and implement this Constitution, we are edging towards ripeness, legal ripeness of implementation of the Constitution. And the other thing I would just like to say as a point of, you know, pride and adulation for our political party, Tujibebe, is that, you know, it is a very proud moment, because at the helm of the county leadership are 3 women who are surrounding 1 governor. So our governor candidate, Honorable William Kabogo, His Excellency, has a female deputy governor as a candidate. I am the senatorial aspirant, and we have a woman rep aspirant, and we have so many other women parliamentary and MCA aspirants in our party, and it is something to be proud about. Our party is actually one of the most gender compliant parties, and not just gender compliant in the face of women, but it has actually balanced the distinction between women and younger women in leadership. I am a young woman, and so I am proud, you know, to be like the 3rd in command when it comes to the candidature for county leadership.
Now, she's really elaborated when it comes to matters women, and you see the way she's speaking about that. And just, have we come of age? And I'll give you, just to wind up on what you're talking about when it comes to Parliament, before you jump into this particular issue of now, have we come of age when it comes to having women in the political front? Because now the discussion, you have Kenya Kwanza signing a charter, Women League charter, and something like that. The Azimio says we have a deputy who is a woman, and other presidential candidates. Wajakoya has Justina Omai, Mwaure also has a woman running mate. Governors mostly are choosing running mates as women. So have we come of age in just having this discussion when it comes to that?
I don't look at it like we have come of age. This tends to be a very sensitive discussion or conversation, for which I have held a particular standpoint, which has not changed. and which is evident in what we are witnessing today.
Okay.
And this has been my standpoint. When there was this hullabaloo about forcing Parliament to legislate on the gender issue, my standpoint was that you cannot legislate that because democracy is about free will.
Okay.
If I am here in Nairobi as a voter, you cannot force me to either elect a man or a woman to comply with the constitution. I am entitled to elect anybody that I wish. And that is a fundamental right that cannot be taken away by anybody.
Okay.
Number two, when you look at the history of women in politics in this country, we came of age a very long time ago. We heard Mama Ngilu running for president way back in 1997.
Okay.
And she put up quite a show. She did quite well. We have had women in parliament since the 60s. I think the late Asio, if I'm not wrong, the first woman to be elected in parliament. We have had now Martha Karua in parliament since 1992, and many others. In 2013, I don't think we had a woman elected as a governor.
No, we didn't.
But in 2017, we had Lorna Laboso. The late Joyce Laboso. We had Waiguru in Kirinyaga. We had Mama Ngilu in Kitui. And now there are more. My idea of this debate around gender balance has been, we have a fairly open space that has created opportunities for everybody.
Okay.
Just a moment. I know she will disagree, but I want to point out to you. I want to point out this to you.
Okay.
You see, like today, I don't think Tujibebe Party went to her house to look for her. She expressed interest to want to lead the people of Kiambu in the capacity of senator. The same way we have many who are running for MCA, governors, even, I don't know whether we had candidates for president or aspirants for president this time. But my idea is, this space has been there, and the issue is, I am a father of girls.
Okay.
And I would never want my girls to grow up thinking that being a woman is a disability or an inability. My idea, just a moment, this is the argument, because like I've given you that chronology for a reason. Like, unless nobody stopped Waiguru or Ngilu or the late Laboso to run for governor, or there was nothing specific stopping them from running. And there was nothing specific that stopped any woman in Kiambu in 2017 or in 2013 to run for governor. So we must get that distinction right. The idea is to encourage our women to realize that these opportunities are available and they are genuinely competitive. And there are no special favors for men, by the way. When it goes to clearance by the IEBC, nobody is going to tell you, because you're a woman, let's first give preference to the men and all that. So the environment, we came of age a very long time ago. The issue is, let our women actually now really rise up there. And it's a very exciting moment to see that now we have presidential candidates who have seriously given these opportunities to women. But these women have not gotten those opportunities as favors. They have earned it, 115%. And that is what we really need to encourage. And also show to the younger women that really, if you go out there and if you have what it takes, then it is yours for good. Look at the judiciary today. We have a chief justice who was a woman. We have a deputy chief justice who is a woman. We have the registrar who is a woman. And nobody is complaining about it. So these opportunities are available. Let nobody lie to you that today we have something that is working against the women. Yes.
Alice, there's nothing working against the women before my director decides to cut me short.
I know, it's usually.
I just as we wind up, because I'm out of time.
I just would like to make quick rejoinders to some of his statements. Yes, I do agree that most most of the opportunities that have been availed to us, we have earned them. It's through merit. I stand here as witness to, to that. I have earned my senatorial position.
Absolutely.
Previously, I was vying as woman representative, but by public demand, people from Kiambu said that these legal brains need to be promoted to Senate, and you see that is a promotion that came through earning. Yes, and so I believe yes, we are actually in a system where now all these opportunities are available to women. But be that as it may, let me just say that we did not come of age as at then. Why? Because we had strangling systems that were not supportive of women financially, psychologically, politically, socially. But now there's an expanded social space, especially with experience from external jurisdictions where they are embracing women leadership. Closer home is Tanzania. Much as she ascended to power by operation of the law, but she's a woman in leadership and doing great things. So that has served a great deal in inspiring female leadership here in Kenya. Also the issue of Kamala Harris in the US. Yes.
All right. My director is really telling me I'm out of time totally, but I'm going to give you a minute to just comment on that as we wind up on this one, because this will be our
For me, my take is very simple. The issue of gender imbalance may not necessarily be cured by legislation or law alone. There are also societal issues that we must deal with in terms of giving the woman an opportunity to lead. Because if you did an audit today of all the candidates, whether independent or those promoted by party, you may find that there are over 50% or 40% are women. But how many of those candidates will translate into elective office? Probably 5% or 10%. So there must be issues that restrict women from ascending to elective office that we must deal with, other than being institutional restrictions or legislative or otherwise.
Thank you so much. Very quickly, maybe, Brian, just 1 second.
Yes.
Actually, to reinforce what you're saying, there's that culture issue again. For example, if you go to Kisii, both Kisii and Nyamira counties, do you know that they have never elected a woman to parliament since 1963, except now the woman representative positions? So those are issues you cannot legislate because they are deep entrenched cultures that will take time to address. But I believe we have a fair playing ground for everybody. Yes.
All right, I'm really out of time. I would have loved to continue this discussion, but really have to end it. And I'd just like to take some feedback here. Fratasha Frank says Engineer Wadhimba will be our next senator of Nakuru County. I believe he will bring change in our county. There's somebody who supports you. Nyawira Nguyo says, say hi to Muhesh Alice Ongare Gathekia and tell her safari hii Kiambu tumeamua ni mama kama senator. Rose Gitam responds to the story that we ran earlier, says the lady in Rongai must be in shock till now. She needs treatment and the long arm of the police should lend her justice. James Kinyua talks about the same about Rongai. Nehemiah say, ask where Look Up TV is at. Okay, we are going to get back to you, Nehemiah. Thank you so much on behalf of everybody that has made it a success. I'm really out of time. I want to thank my guests for making it. That is Crispus Odhimba, who is seeking to be the senator of Nakuru County on an independent ticket. Thank you so much for making time for this discussion. Alice, you're not a guest here, but she wants to be the next senator of Kiambu County with Tujibebe Party. Thank you so much. And Ben Muller, who is a governance consultant and also not a guest on this show. No, he's a guest on this show, but not here at Look Up TV. All right? All right, tonight, that does it for us. Thank you so much for creating time and watching this bulletin tonight. My name is Brian Amwai. Sign language interpreter tonight has been Josephine Ouko. Have yourselves a wonderful night, and let's do this again next time.
The Spotlight, factual and timely.